Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Banter show brought to you by the Banter broadcast. My name is Jonathan Silber. As always, joined by Ben and Brandon Holkman. Unfortunately, Sam couldn't make it today, but we are going to try and make it that all of us can come on whenever we can. But we're going to do this show every week, every Friday at 4 p.m. You know what it is. Boys, how you feeling? How's the week been?
Been good. I don't know if you can tell by my background, but Faces just came to streaming services, so might have the best cry of my lifetime. So I'm really good. I'm really happy about that. But
How about you, Brandon?
I'm doing good.
Yeah.
Just chilling.
No complaints?
Not studying, becoming a doctor like a nerd like Sam is, but you know the vibes. I'm not out here trying to save people's lives.
That's bro. That's how much love we have in this.
Brandon, we don't save people's lives. We change them one at a time here at this channel. But on a serious note, there's been a lot of sports news, which is what we do. Of course, we're gonna get to the later banter battle, where Ben and Brandon are gonna duke it out to see who is better, Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson. A great debate. Make sure to stay tuned for that. We'd like to call it the title fight. It's the main event here, so stay tuned for that. You don't want to miss it. But guys, big news coming from the NFL today. Zach Ertz has been officially traded, and I could not be more upset because I literally just dropped Dallas Goedert last week. What do you guys think about this trade?
It was interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's just another weapon for Kyler Murray to throw to. If Zach Ertz can stay healthy, this is a fantastic move for Arizona. The one thing I'd say is they did trade a corner, and their secondary wasn't good and as deep as it could have been. That's the one thing I'd be worried about with this Arizona Cardinals team, but I think it's a fantastic move for them if you can.
Yeah, but this Arizona Cardinals team is pretty much air raid offense only. Like, who cares? Defense is what? Like, exactly.
I know, but still,
JJ Watt, Buda Baker, Chandler Jones, Isaiah Simmons. That's all you need on defense, apparently.
4 out of the
but yeah. But with this, I think it's just honestly showing that and probably by the trade deadline too, that we're going to see Arizona go aggressive and look at it and look and be like, hey, listen, we have a legitimate shot of not only winning our division, but going far in the playoffs and going possibly to the Super Bowl as well and contending with the big boys. And that does mean picking up these veteran players that are going for 5th, 6th, 7th round picks that these teams don't want, that still have some value. Zach Ertz was clearly on the chopping block in Philadelphia for a long time, ever since they traded Wentz. So, it's been something where it's been a development. We heard maybe the Colts, maybe the Bills possibly, but the Cardinals adding another piece to that dimension. Also, Ertz is a underrated blocking tight end in my opinion. So
Agreed.
Gives Kyler Murray more options in terms of his ability to scramble and possibly another option for James Conner to run behind.
100%. I don't want to say I called it, but at the beginning of the season, I did say that Arizona was a favorite to win the Super Bowl. And I said last year too, Kyler Murray was a favorite to win MVP. Unfortunately, I wasn't right last year, but it's looking like it this year. Brandon, the LeBron effect has made its way to the NFL.
With Tampa.
Tampa as well with Arizona. I mean, the people joining these teams genuinely think that they have the best chance to win the Super Bowl, and that doesn't come lightly. And it's a really good way to bring in a lot of high quality players to your team to make it so you can contend for a Super Bowl even more than you can at the beginning of the season. Zach Ertz is just another weapon, as you said. Kyler Murray doesn't need more weapons, but he's got them. It seems like the Arizona Cardinals, I hope it's not what it is, but it seems like old players are going there to kind of just like chill. We got AJ Green now, Zach Ertz. Like we've got several veteran pass catchers on this team. Obviously, they got Rondell Moore, Christian Kirk as well. 2 young guys that have potential for the future, but definitely the win now veterans are going to make a huge impact moving forwards.
And DeAndre Hopkins. I don't think I wasn't listening. I don't know if you mentioned that, but DeAndre Hopkins.
You don't have to mention one of the best wide receivers. Like it's already stated. But I mean, this is a lot for one other thing I wanted to say was there were a lot of doubts of Kyler Murray not only getting into the NFL, but the first season or two, a lot of people thought he was just riding on his legs and wasn't as good as a lot of people were thinking he was. But so far through 5 games, he's proven everyone wrong. He's looked very confident. He's looked very mature for being drafted a couple years ago. All of a sudden, you now have a team where a year ago, a couple years ago, they were relying on some, Jewish dude that used to play tennis to play quarterback. And now they're relying on arguably the MVP favorite. And it's really exciting to see what's going to happen with this Arizona team.
Let's delve into that a little bit. MVP favorite. Is it Kyler Murray or is it Josh Allen as it stands right now?
I think there's 3 or 4. There's Kyler Murray, Josh Allen, Matt Stafford, and Tom Brady. I think people have been throwing in there. Look,
I don't think Tom can win it with what Josh Allen and Kyler Murray are doing just from a social media era standpoint.
Sure.
Tom Brady's not that anymore. Like, he's not that flashy, like crazy play guy like these two are.
Yeah, but I get it, but he's never been the flashy run out of pocket style player. Exactly. But I totally understand. Yeah. And I think the good thing about the Josh Allen and Kyler Murray debate is that they're both are guys that kind of come from the same. I don't think they were in the same draft, but they were both guys a lot of people had doubts of. They had one really strong thing that they had. A lot of people that they were running their luck with, and they've kept going and going and growing. I think it's got to be at least a 2 or 3-way tie at this point. It's still too early to count what's going to happen. Remember, one of them might have the Russell Wilson effect, where halfway through the season they start coming back to earth and everything kind of just falls apart, or they might keep going on this trajectory. I think Josh Allen might have that same thing. They have it because he just has an easier division, and I mean that Bills defense, we can start and stop talking about the best defense in the league. They've got to be up there. I think you have to look at all those factors. I think Josh Allen might win it, but I think it's a little bit too early to call.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I'd have to. I think with Kyler Murray, I think we're just looking at right now probably best record. I mean, obviously Josh Allen and the recent performance he put in with against the Chiefs, even though that secondary is garbage. I think also you have to look at the fact that I think Kyler Murray has done a lot more right now compared, because Josh Allen also had a slow start. Kyler Murray has kept up a level of tempo where it's been, MVP like, and I don't see a reason why he can't maintain that momentum. Now, whether or not it stays and we see Josh Allen take over, I mean, I'm assuming Kyler Murray is going to have a bad game eventually, just because he's going to probably fall. He's probably going to not maintain the 5-0 start that the Cardinals had, but I don't see why he can't still play at a high level. With Josh Allen, you're looking at a guy that I don't think has as many options on offense as compared to Kyler Murray. But
let's go into that a little bit, because we're looking at these wide receivers for the Buffalo Bills. We've got Stephon Diggs, arguably one of the best wide receivers in football. Cole Beasley has been a security blanket for Tony Romo, Dak Prescott, and now Josh Allen. No question about it. He's got that Julian Edelman kind of reliableness for a QB. And then there's guys like Emmanuel Sanders balling out this season. I feel like the weapons that Josh Allen have are truly underrated. Obviously, they're not as big. I mean, I'd argue that Stephon Diggs is as big of a name nowadays as DeAndre Hopkins is.
But I talk about overall quality, because we look at both these teams and yes, they have complete packages on offense. They have good wide receiver cores. They have the Austin good tight ends.
Good tight end.
Yeah, they have great tight ends. They have now the Cardinals have a great tight end. They have wide receivers. They have running backs. They have an offensive line. But I think when it comes down to it, I think who's doing more for their offense, I feel like has been Kyler Murray and his wide receivers compared to Josh Allen.
Look,
a lot of the Bills' offense is running the ball.
100%. The Bills are a ground and pound team, but at the same time, Josh Allen's arm talent is unlike any other. Zach Moss and Devin Singletary are. I mean, we can look at the two running back groups for each team. They're kind of similar, I guess. You got a goal line back in Zach Moss and in James Conner. And then you have Chase Edmonds and Devin Singletary, who are your, guys who are going to try and find seams and get big plays for you guys. So these two teams are really similar. If we're nitpicking right now, my guess at the end of the season is whoever has the best record is going to win the MVP, just because that's usually how it goes down. Best player on the best team, most valuable player. You know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, really interesting conversation, and it's definitely one to watch develop throughout the entire season. We could talk about some other football news or basketball news. What would you like to go in to, boys?
Leave it up to chat. You know what? I'll throw in another poll real quick, see what they want to talk about.
Perfect. In the meantime, I want to go ahead and make an announcement. If you guys didn't see Brandon's last video, he was basically describing our new show, The Morning After. The Morning After is a show where we are going to break down all fantasy sports for you guys, football and basketball, and it's going to be an amazing, amazing show, Mondays at 11 a.m. Eastern, so make sure to tune in. Then make sure to subscribe now and hit that notification bell so you never miss when we go live. Really interesting stuff going on around both the NFL and NBA. But we could just talk about some of the NBA topics that we've got for now. And then we can get into our battle in just a little bit. But I have an interesting topic, because there's a guy in the NBA who is supposed to be a generational transcendent talent. And so far, he hasn't proved it. And it's very unfortunate, because Zion Williamson is definitely one of the most interesting players to watch when he's on the court, just because of his uniqueness of how he plays. If you want to say, I've never seen a guy play like him before. It's a strange but efficient style of play, bully ball. But again, he's hurt, as I don't want to say it's always, but as it has been for every season. So what do you guys think of Zion not being able to play the beginning of the season with his team?
So, Brent, go ahead.
Nah, I was gonna say, like, what's new? I mean, like, we've seen this rookie season. I'm pretty sure it wasn't the same thing last season, but I'm pretty sure he missed significant time last season as well. I mean, the dude he's a transcendent talent that can't stay healthy. And that reminds me of Blake Griffin. And it's Blake Griffin was supposed to be the next great power forward. And guess what happened to him? By 29, he could barely jump anymore. I mean, it could also be he just didn't want to be on the Pistons, but
yeah.
At 29, like, he was a shell of himself. I mean, I don't think he's been at the same level since. I mean, you can argue that he's kind of getting there with the Nets, but I don't think
but
so.
Zion had a lot more upside coming into the league, wouldn't you?
And I know, but I agree. However, it has to be the way he's built. He's built like a semi-truck. I mean, the dude is what, 6'5", 270, 280, like that. At some point, your body's gonna give when you're that big and you're that strong. And unless I'm not gonna say he needs to.
And not only that, he plays a very physical style of basketball.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a dangerous way to play. I mean, we can look back at guys like Derrick Rose, for example, who have had so much promise in their career and then have been limited due to injury issues. I hope Zion doesn't get that. I really want to see the player he can become, but at the same time,
I mean, he kind of shown abilities of it, but to be able to stretch the floor a little bit, I think I
don't care about that anymore. Just stay on the floor.
Well, no, that's the thing. That's how he's going to stay on the floor instead of relying on just bullying guys in the paint and slashing.
Expand your game.
I mean, you also have to look at like what Dwayne Wade did. He was a slasher. Then he tore his meniscus and he was out a whole season. So he became a jump shooter. He became a mid-range guy. Like, he wasn't a slasher anymore. He became a guy that was more prolific from the free throw line, from a free throw line jumper than he was attacking the paint.
100%.
You know, it's it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. Like, it's on him.
Yeah, and he's not only he's not the only bright young star in the NBA. We've got another a new generation of talent coming in the NBA. And I just wanted to ask you both a quick little theoretical question. Who would you rather have to start a franchise, Trae Young, Jason Tatum? And if there's a better option you can think of, throw it in there as a wild card.
Jason Tatum for me. I like Trae Young's game. I just think we're going to see it's the same sort of thing that when we were talking about Nikola Jokic versus Donovan Mitchell a couple of years ago. This was before he became the MVP. Well, I was like, we're going to see more centers do what Nikola Jokic do over time. I think that's what we're going to see with Trae Young. That's just what happens with most stuff, where you just see guys, point guards, who can both play make and just shoot like hell. It is something that we're going to see more of. And I think Jason Tatum is just different gravy to a point. Like we joke about how bad Boston's run, but if it wasn't for him, we'd be seeing so many more problems with that team. And maybe you can say, oh, well, he's with Jaylen Brown. I don't think that that's the case. I think he's just that good.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to take Tatum as well. I look at him as a guy that can lead the Trae Young is also a guy that can lead the franchise. He's doing that with the Atlanta Hawks. But I look at him as a guy that.
Let's throw Donovan Mitchell into this too, Brandon. Does that change anything for you?
I would still take Tatum.
Okay, I'm gonna spitball some names, and you tell me. You tell me when you wouldn't.
Would I take Tatum? Okay.
Tatum. Like it's such a complex situation because Jason Tatum is such a talented young player, but at the same time, I've never seen this much young talent in the NBA all at once. It's really spectacular. James Harden, is that too high?
I mean, that's not young talent.
That's Jason Tatum.
I'm just naming players.
Okay.
Brandon, my original concept was KD versus Tatum. I mean,
I know. I know.
Cat.
I'd still take Tatum.
Yeah.
You would take
at least. No, Tatum. I take Tatum.
Ben?
Because at least Tatum has defense.
Yeah, I'd still take Tatum.
I would take Cat over Tatum just because.
Bro, what do you mean? How would you take Cat? Look what Jimmy Butler did to them.
If Cat was on a good team, Ben. If he wasn't on the Timberwolves, all right? The Timberwolves and the Kings are franchises we don't expect players to evolve in. I hate.
They do it out of spite. I'm not gonna lie. Like they really do it out of spite.
What about Devin Booker or Jason Tatum?
That's better. That's a better argument than Cat.
That's difficult because honestly, again, it just goes back to Tatum can play defense.
Okay.
And
all right, I'll give it to you guys.
While
you guys are really high on Tatum.
It's just.
I mean, guys, listen. The reason I brought this up, it was a little selfish. I'm selecting 10th in our fantasy dynasty basketball league, and I'm stuck between, I don't know, Trae Young, Jason Tatum, Karl-Anthony Towns at my selection. It was a little selfish of me to get your opinions. But I'm looking forward to drafting this Sunday. It'll be really cool. And we'll break it down for you guys next week.
We've just been scammed. I don't know what you're talking about. You've just been
scammed. I just got some intel.
You've been bamboozled.
What picks do you guys have in that draft?
I have 5.
Which one? Oh, Ben has a 3rd pick. You're going with Nikola Jokic, right? 1 and 2 is Luka and Giannis.
If Giannis or Luka don't fall, then I'm good.
They're not falling. I've spoken to Sam and Jake. I know who they're taking. Brandon, who's your desired 5th pick?
I'm thinking Young, like
Thinking
not
Trae Young at number five.
No. Like I'm talking about overall, like how I'm gonna do my
Oh,
draft.
God.
It's young guys, not it's young guys. But at the same time, like I know if I pass up of like let's say KD's there, like I haven't because we're doing it on Sleeper. I haven't looked at the
KD
rankings
will
list
be
yet.
there at number 5.
I haven't really looked at like where like it'll show you like because that's what the thing I love about Sleeper. It'll show you like who do they think is going to be available between these picks.
You want me to read Sleeper's top 10 power rankings? We can react to them.
Sure. Go ahead.
At 1, we have Giannis with an ADP of 1.3. His average is a first overall pick in Dynasty. Yeah. Luka Doncic is number 2, coming in at 2.5, and Nikola Jokic at 3. So what we said basically holds. It's going to hold in our league. This is where I feel like it starts to get a little mixy, because then at 4 you have James Harden. At 5 you have Anthony Davis, but as Jake likes to call him, my friend, Anthony Data Davis. I think either Shaq or Chuck coined that nickname on Inside the NBA, but it's perfect. I mean, come on.
Both of them can't stay healthy. So like that's not an incentive for me there.
He also calls him a Disney. So that's a good nickname too. Then at number 6 is Steph Curry. Would you take KD over any of those? Because you have the 5th pick.
Okay, because of because again, my whole premise was kind of go maybe 31 and under, because this is Dynasty. So at some point, these guys are going to taper off and go and not play at a high level anymore. So my thinking is, all right, if I get a squad of like some veterans, but like mostly like solid young guys that have that are all-stars or all-star level potential, then I'm set. In not only trades, but like also like for the next like couple years.
Interesting. The Dynasty aspect is going to be really interesting. I've never done a Dynasty basketball league, only football so far. But it just seems so fun already. Like thinking of a strategy, I highly recommend everybody watching to go out and grab a group of friends, go on Sleeper. They got this new game pick format. It's really cool. Check it out, and we'll keep you guys updated with the fantasy basketball league throughout this season and throughout the years if you guys love it. So make sure to stay tuned to that. Just so you guys know, the 7 through 10 players were Damian Lillard, LeBron James, Karl Anthony Towns, Jason Tatum, and then 11 was Durant.
See, I would be tempted to maybe take like KD, Cat, or I don't know, or Curry at that spot at 5.
Yep.
Just because
you got options and they're not bad.
Yeah.
But let's move on.
Why Harden would be as high, especially now since he's with KD.
Because
I think with those two,
as efficient for fantasy as Luka Doncic.
I think with KD though, if you think about it, I think with KD, he's at that, like, because of the Kyrie situation, he is going to have to take another step up offensively. You know what I mean? Both him and Harden. And
Harden's
so
game also,
like age as well.
Like,
unless that gets resolved somehow, then like I feel like it's just going to be the show of 2 with them.
No, 100%. James Harden's game is one of those that definitely can age well. It's not reliant on athleticism. It's more mental. It's handle. It's all these different aspects to a game to get an open shot. And I feel like that can age really well. That's why I think James Harden should be drafted that early. I like him much better than KD actually. Interesting topic. But guys, let's move on to the main event, the banter battle. I don't know if we can do the poll in chat today because chat's been a little dry, but we will still try, see what you guys can do, and maybe we can throw it on. We already saw what the people said. They want Justin Jefferson, but Brandon's going to be arguing for Jamar Chase. Let's get into the banter battle, everybody. The main event, as I said before, where Ben and Brandon are going to be discussing who would you rather have to start a franchise, or who would have a better career, Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase? we can dive right into it. Ben, since you won last week, would you like to go first or second?
I'm gonna go first.
All right. And you will have a 2-minute round. These usually don't take the whole 2 minutes, but feel free to stop whenever you want or continue whenever you want. Your 2 minutes starts now.
First off, as I said in the beginning, go stream Faces by Mac Miller, one of the best mixtapes ever. I'm just doing this because I know I'll win. Let's get right into the argument. Now, if you listen to any of the conversations I've had with Brandon, you would know that I told him for this past week that he is going to win because statistically, even though it's a short amount of time, Chase wins over Jefferson. But if you want to know what's behind those stats, then you realized why Jefferson is going to have a better career and his stats are more impressive. Now, Chase has all the advantage in Cincinnati. The offense is built around him. He has a familiarity with the QB. He has no pressure in the wide receiver locker room and plays under an offensive-minded coach. Plus, he's played against easier teams and even struggled against a team by the name of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jefferson, on the other hand, when he came into the league, didn't know the QB. Cousins, you can even argue, is worse than Joe Burrow. Cousins is a little bit off at times. He really, truly doesn't know where he's throwing, and he's very inconsistent. There's even a video of Jefferson yelling at Cousins when he was wide open. I'm sure that was fine. And when he came in, there were two other options in front of him, Thielen and Rudolph. However, he also had to compete for touches with an elite Dalvin Cook season last year. Brandon, you know all about that because he was on your fantasy team, and he plays under a defensive-minded coach. Even with all that, he had 1,700 yards and I believe 7 touchdowns. That's 4 whatever. It doesn't matter. He still shined and was going to be the rookie of the year if it wasn't for the fact that Justin Herbert had one of the best rookie campaigns ever. He's played against harder teams this season: Arizona, Seattle, Cleveland, and Detroit, and has been a factor as to how the Vikings, which arguably has a worse team, have stayed in those games. All in all, I really, truly think that Jefferson has been a more valuable player to his team and will have a better career than Chase. Both of these players are very good, and I think it's really asinine to say it, but I really, truly think that Chase or Jefferson will be better.
Okay. Really strong points. Brandon, I'm going to go ahead and throw it to you. We're still in Jamar Chase's rookie year. Can't he win rookie of the year?
100%. And he's actually on pace to probably beat Justin Jefferson's 1,400 yards, 7 touchdowns on 88 receptions, because he currently has 456 yards, 5 touchdowns on 23 receptions. So he's definitely on pace to at least break that touchdown by Justin Jefferson. And yes, Ben, we can look at the stats, but we can also look at Justin Jefferson's stats. Are we really set? Okay, the Lions are garbage. Let's be real. So obviously he's going to play really well, but he didn't get a touchdown last week. Brown's secondary is really good. Seahawks secondary isn't what it used to be. Same thing with Cardinals. We just spoke about it this live stream that they pretty much have like 4 defensive players that play, and one of them is Budda Baker, but he also has to deal with Thielen, and he struggled that game. And then the Bengals in week 1 also struggled against the Bengals week 1. So yes, there isn't a familiarity going into last season with Kirk Cousins. That's true. The offense isn't built around him last season, but this season it is. It has to be built around him. Kyle Rudolph isn't there. Stephon Diggs, he was drafted to be the replacement for Stephon Diggs. Dalvin Cook is still there, and Adam Thielen is getting older. He is the number 2 wide receiver. And for Jamar Chase, he's put up numbers, and he's put up numbers against significantly harder teams with harder secondaries. You look at the Bears, you look at the Steelers, Jaguars, he did struggle a little bit, and you look at the Packers. 3 harder secondaries then compared against the Justin Jefferson, and has done well. Yes, the offense is more built around the connection between Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. However, you look at the Vikings offense this season as well, it kind of also has been flowing through the attack game as well, and it hasn't really been that successful.
Okay, all right. Let's throw it over to Ben for his 1-minute rebuttal round. Your time starts now.
Again, you're not even rebutting any of my points. Jamar Chase doesn't have to fight against Joe Mixon because Joe Mixon's injured. He's the only guy the only guy that's going to get touches in that team. He's the only guy that's going to be looked. He has a higher snap share than Jefferson. I mean, if you really want to look at that. And by the way, I'm not talking a better team defensively. Not only that, I'm also talking about time of possession. You're going to have less time to throw it and less time to be on offense when your defense can't do anything and they get ran over. And if you look at touchdown receptions, who you rather throwing it to? The smaller, faster receiver in the end zone or the big body receiver that can get it on fades and slants? You're throwing to Thielen all the entire time, or you're running it down to Cook. But guess who gets those big games? Jefferson. We can keep, and if you really want to talk about wins and all that sort of stuff, and if you want to even go there for your next points, if you're the same person to argue that wins aren't a QB stat, wins aren't a wide receiver stat either.
Let's throw it over to Brandon so he gets his 1 minute rebuttal, and then we'll have a 2 minute open floor period where you guys can end the debate. Brandon, your 1 minute starts now.
All right. Joe Mixon is injured, but you look at their wide receiver depth as well. Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, that's still pretty decent. Pretty decent. They have Michael Irvin's son as a tight end. I think he's done all right. For what I've remembered or what I've seen. So like offensively, there's more options than Jamar Chase. There's more options. And if you also look at what long term, who would you rather have throwing to? A generational quarterback in Joe Burrow throwing you the ball and being able to put up stats, or Kirk Cousins? Let's be real. I would want Joe Burrow throwing me the ball. I think all of us would want Joe Burrow throwing us the ball. Therefore, Jamar Chase is going to have the better, I feel like, statistically and probably performance-wise, because the Bengals, I think, have overperformed from their expectations, given that they have no offensive line and absolutely no, it's Cincinnati, right? We're not expecting this from the Bengals, but apparently they're doing well.
Yep.
And that's because of Jamar Chase putting up an incredible rookie season thus far. I'm not saying that he can't be another Justin Jefferson and showing his spectacularness last season in his rookie year.
Okay.
However,
I'm going to have to stop you.
There's a correlation.
Continue your points in the open debate. And just to let you know, it's Thaddeus Moss, son of Randy Moss, at tight end, who the Bengals have now. So the floor is open. Take it away, boys. Your 2 minutes starts now. Truly go ahead and win the battle.
First of all, it's been 5 games. I really think this debate is kind of stupid anyways, because we're debating a guy who's only been in the league for 1 year with another guy who's been in the league for 5 games. But look, I'm not saying that, he's going to have a better career. I'm saying, yes, Jefferson put up those numbers with that quarterback. Imagine years down the line when he gets a good quarterback. We saw the same thing.
Okay, but are we going to wait years, or are we going to wait for right now? Because
I thought the question was
Jamar Chase has the better quarterback right now, and we'll have it for the next 10, 15 years.
I thought that was the question. You might have to stick to the question. I thought the question was who has the better career, because that's what we're looking at. Now we have to look at skill based.
Yes, and who has to throw you the ball if you're a receiver? Your quarterback, and who already has who
already has a quarterback that has suffered an incredibly horrible knee injury with no offensive line.
And is putting up numbers this season. And is still putting up numbers this season. And he was putting up numbers last season.
Numbers last year, though, and he got injured halfway, didn't he?
Okay.
So how can we be 100% sure?
Okay, and then until he gets injured again. However, I feel the Bengals are probably going to build an offensive line around
You're trusting the Bengals.
You have a generational talent quarterback throwing you the ball, Ben.
Okay, they did
compared to Kirk Cousins, who's well known as is on being on the football team, yelling "You like that" when he put up like maybe a 2 touchdown game. That was it.
Kirk Cousins is always
he got paid for overperformance in Washington.
He's always been in positions to do well. It doesn't matter what you're saying. He's always put his team.
Kirk Cousins got overpaid and is an underperforming quarterback
on the field as
for what he's being paid for. Okay,
so at least he has a competent. At least Jefferson's gonna have a competent.
The offense around him is competent, but he's not targeting Justin Jefferson. He's targeting Thielen. I know that because I have Thielen on one of my leagues. All right. He's targeting Thielen and he's targeting Cook. He's not targeting Justin Jefferson.
And yeah,
hold on, boys. Hold on.
Jefferson's making that much numbers.
Ben, your 2 minutes are up, but this debate feels like it needs some more time. It needs some more justice. So I'm going to go ahead and open the floor for another round of open debate. It's a great debate so far. You guys are currently tied 50-50 in the vote poll. for who is winning this battle. So if you are watching, please contribute. Click the poll. Who you think is winning. This round is going to determine it all. So, boys, another minute and 30 seconds. I won't give you 2 minutes.
Owen's making the best point here. What my point was with Cousins wasn't that he was going to be better or worse. My point was Jefferson was doing that with that QB. We're talking about years down the line. Things change. Teams change. We're going to see Jefferson later down the line get with a good QB, whether him forcing a move out or the Vikings front office finding a good QB. We are going to see him with a good competent QB.
Focus more on the receivers. Focus more on the receivers.
I'm getting to that, Jonathan. We will see him with that, and when we see that, we'll see a bigger amount of numbers going to him.
Okay, but if we're talking about right now, and once again,
we're not talking about right now.
Okay, fine. Overall, fine. Jamar Chase is right now on pace. Like I said in my opening intro, is on pace to beating out Justin Jefferson's stats from last season, his rookie stats last season. He's only 2 touchdowns away from equaling Justin Jefferson's 7 from last season. Yes, he's about 1,000 or so yards away, but we still have what? I'm trying to do math. 12 games left of the season. The debate is not who has the better quarterback, but if you're being thrown the ball to, your stats are going to depend on who the hell is throwing you the ball.
All right, but we again,
your quarterback has to be competent, not Kirk Cousins.
We're still and Kirk Cousins is
Joe Burrow is a generational
competent. Kirk Cousins isn't competent. That's why they went 7-9 last year.
He's a 10-15-year quarterback that you will build your dynasty around.
I don't know, man. 10-15 years after getting a knee injury like that, really. Again, we're not talking about quarterbacks. No,
I'm sorry, Ben.
No, because he never stays on point. Look, at the end of the day,
it was a strong point.
About quarterbacks. I only use quarterbacks.
But who is throwing? Okay, your stats.
It's a strong point.
Okay, well, I can make you an analogy on basketball. If you're a point guard and you're trying to get assists, and your whole team is ass compared to you, are you going to get assists? No, you're not.
If you're that good, you'll find a way. Look at Chris Paul for how many years with the Hornets. If you're that good, find a way. Look at Chris. Look, we want to talk about point guards. Look at Chris Paul with the Thunder.
All right, boys. This conversation is drifting way too far. Great debate. Unfortunately, your time is up and it is over. But again, both of you, thank you so much for contributing to the banter battle. And for our fans, the Banter, make sure to vote in the poll. Currently, it is tied 50-50. As it seems all these polls end up going. But we'll keep it up for another minute. I know we got a few people watching.
Oh, and I do like the Jonathan Taylor, because I gotta tell you, Jonathan Taylor is right now my favorite player of all time.
He's definitely
Ben knows why.
You want to give us some insight?
No.
So Ben was up by 27 points going into Monday. I had, which I'm pretty upset. Patrick Mahomes pretty much crapped the bed for me. I was pretty upset. And he had Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs on Sunday night. Crapped the bed for me. Whatever. I was going to take my loss. I was like, Jonathan Taylor against a Baltimore defense that's pretty good against the run. And he goes off, and I was down 27. He goes off for 28 points, and I win by 1. So that made my Monday night very happy.
Yeah.
Not for Colts fans, though. That Colts fans still were in misery. But
that's what I've been saying about Carson Wentz. Even when he got traded, I was like, it doesn't matter. He's been injured for the past 3 years. So what? You're hanging on to 1 year. You know what I mean?
Definitely. We're going to keep this poll up a little more. Currently, Ben's edging Brandon out 57% to, I mean, come on. This is a really close debate. Make sure everybody in the chat is voting right now. But good job, both of you guys. We, as I said before, one of the best debates we have had on the show for sure. I love the emotion. I love the intensity. And that is what you guys are getting week in and week out with the banter battles exclusively on the Banter Show. Guys, I'm going to keep this up for just a minute left. But
Brandon's putting
it's 50. It's 50.
I'm literally texting my girlfriend. I'm literally texting my girlfriend.
It's currently 56% Brandon.
I don't have any burners.
That's a lie. That's a lie.
I don't have any burners.
That's a lie.
I have multiple
That's
emails.
But
like I only have 2 YouTube
I have multiple emails.
Right? I have multiple emails for this one account.
Literally, I'm texting my girlfriend. All right. I'm trying to tell her what time dinner is.
All right. We're going to go ahead.
We should just end it. I think we should stop the count right now, though.
Yeah. The poll is officially ended. And the results are Brandon is the victor of this week's banter battle. I'm sorry, Ben. Your reign is up. Brandon, as we used to, let's bring it back. Your 30 seconds of shine. Go ahead.
It feels good. Listen, Ben put up a good debate, but it's the return of the king. What can I say? Like, I took one little slip. Every reign takes one little slip. I mean, every kingdom, falls a little bit, and then
Rome wasn't built in a day.
Exactly.
Then Rome fell. Rome isn't around anymore.
I mean, listen. You know what? You look at what I don't know. Russia's doing. I don't know.
Yes, and Gorbachev is on the wall, right?
All right, you know what? I don't know. Okay, I'm just here so I don't get fined. All right.
For sure. We appreciate everybody who tuned in.
And shout out to Carlos Boozer. If anyone remembers this.
He's got the freshest tape in the world right there, Brandon. But I have to give it credit to the banter for sticking out through this one. Great show. Both of you guys appreciate your debates. As always, this is the Banter Show brought to you by the Banter Broadcast, and we'll see you on the next one.